A wise man once said, "You can't tax your way out of debt, and you can't spend your way into prosperity." A government big enough to give everything is a government big enough to take everything. For anyone who has their investments tied up in dollars, which are going to be inflated away with the Federal Reserve's endless money printing, no safe can keep your money safe when a corrupt government controls the printing press. The way to crush the middle class is to grind them between the millstones of taxation and inflation. Spending trillions of dollars that we don't have. Taxing everyone into poverty, sending more of our money overseas, and killing jobs. And it is coming full force. Just digging us a big financial hole and destroying America. President-elect Joe Biden's promise to spend trillions will bring back a healthy level of inflation that has been lacking since the 2008 financial crisis and put an end to the nearly 40-year bull market in bonds. A healthy level of inflation and a devaluing of the dollar, Venezuela in the making. Biden promises more regulations and a transition off of oil. Get ready for $5 gas. Higher energy prices and higher taxes to pay for this. Gas for cars, heating oil for homes. It'll be triple in no time. The Green New Deal is very costly and counterproductive. It's a tax on the poor. The middle class pays the subsidies for the wealthy to drive luxury Teslas, and we also pay the increase in fuel costs during this transition. It will end up hurting the people it was meant to help. California shut down a lot of its fossil-fueled power plants, and now they're buying electricity from Arizona's fossil fuel power plants. They're still having rolling blackouts in California. You thought things were bad before, just wait and see what happens over the next 4 years. Get ready for massive inflation and higher taxes than you've ever seen before. Higher taxes and choke chain regulations translate to higher prices on everything as the corporations pass their tax burdens onto the consumer. Open border policies, wasted money on climate change, and buying friends and funding enemies is where we are headed. This is all designed to destroy the middle class and set up a socialist system. $15 minimum wage will double inflation. $15 per hour means we will be paying twice as much for food and services to cover that hike. Poor seniors living on a fixed income will have to compete with this newfound wealth for rent. All utilities will receive higher rates, adjusted for this newfound wealth. We are not thinking these policies through, just enacting campaign soundbites that are detrimental to the retired citizens. The biggest regressive tax of all is inflation. Add the $15 minimum wage to the poorest workers, raising their tax rate, higher income reduces federal aid to them, and inflation. The misery index for the poor will be so much worse. When the $15 an hour minimum wage is passed, $100,000 becomes $50,000. Sorry if you saved your whole life to have $100,000, and the government turned it into $50,000 basically overnight. Enjoy the $8 a gallon milk. Between the $15 minimum wage and the new regulations they are planning for farming, our food prices will double. This is the total destruction of the middle class and the downfall of America. 4 years of disastrous events will start unfolding one by one or possibly all at once. The days of America First are over with, and so is its prosperity nationally and internationally. Expect from now higher taxes and trillions of unnecessary and wasteful spending on illegals and foreign aid to adversary regimes, as well as companies moving their business overseas, causing a major unemployment crisis, and on and on. Expect all of that and much, much more to be in store for all of us hardworking taxpayers who will be funding a full-blown socialist agenda. Socialism is a great idea until you're running out of other people's money. We've worked hard all our lives, did the right things, obeyed the law, loved our country, and now they want to make everybody equal with deadbeats, criminals, and America haters. Our economy is getting ready to crash. Buckle up and get ready for an economic collapse like never before. Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here for your daily dose of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please take a second to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to also hit the notification bell. Biden has not yet been inaugurated, and gas is up 30 a gallon. This is just the beginning, folks. There's a good chance of a federal tax being imposed on all petroleum products to help pay for the new Green Deal. A $5 plus a gallon for gas is inevitable. Less mobile people are easier to control. Biden said no new taxes, he didn't say he wouldn't raise the ones in place. They will raise taxes, ruin business deals with other countries, destroy small businesses with regulations and strangulations, stifle economic growth, allow illegal aliens in, overregulate, attack gun rights, and remove energy independence. So remember all this change that all reaches in your pocket. This is just the beginning, and it destroys the economy. While fuel prices will go up differently in each city and state, they will go up. Restrictions coming from green deals will make us rely on foreign energy, back to high gas prices and being controlled by the Middle East. Get ready for dark days ahead, with energy prices being triple what they are today. Rolling blackouts, carbon tax, green raw deal tax, high electricity bills. Energy independence is a national security issue. Doing anything that lessens our security is treasonous. Domestic energy production was our only existing industry able to fix the trade deficit and national debt. I hate the fact that once again, we will depend on another country more than we have to. Think about what our energy independence means. We don't have to send our military folks all over the world to protect our interests, saving lives and millions of dollars, lower energy costs, cleaner air because of natural gas development, lower electric bills, where everyone benefits. To make us energy dependent on other countries would be un-American and a sin. It opens the door for other nations to manipulate our policies. Can't help but to notice in the last 2 months, gas has gone from 1.74 a gallon to 2.28 and milk from 1.29 a gallon to 2.75. And this is just the start. Inflation where it matters, like in food and medicine. It's like they are trying to run us into the ground. The responsibility for inflation lies with but one entity, the organization who decides what the supply of money should be. If inflation happens, there's only one reason, and that reason is the printing of money. The Fed, legally embezzling your money for over 100 years. Hyperinflation occurs when the interest due on fiat creation reaches a level uncollectible by confiscation, which is where the Fed and US dollar are today. The Fed will cause hyperinflation, where a transition to an honest system, no matter what it's called, dollar or otherwise, will not. The Fed holds the paper on nearly every debt, which is the only thing of value that they have. The dollar per se is worthless. Relative to the rest of the world, if the US had an honest money system, those around the world would want to hold and transact in that currency as well, making it the reserve currency. Wait till the Green New Deal, reparations, and bailing broken blue states meets a financing environment not assisted by the Fed. For the Fed must stop allowing this massive debt creation without cost. And then the mortgage paper debacle, with all the holders of 2.9% paper looking at a higher interest rate environment. The big break in markets will be triggered by the debt balloon. More than that. Dollar down 8% this year against other currencies. Other currencies that are debasing themselves simultaneously. So losing value at that which is losing value. 20% against gold in 1 year. The US is destroying itself. Government debt in the US has increased by more than $4 trillion this year, which adds up to $12,800 per person. Inflation is based on money velocity. Yes, you can print gadzillions, but if it doesn't move, nothing happens. Inflation is not a rise in prices. Inflation is an increase in the money supply. The rise in prices is a consequence of the increased money supply. You don't need to worry about counting this good or that service or making sure the weightings or percentages are right. All that stuff is redundant and ridiculous. Once the currency exists, it will be spent on something. You can use the Federal Reserve's own numbers. If you look at the currency supply expansion since 1980, it comes out to something like 8.6%. So it's blatantly obvious to me that these sites like Chapwood or Shadowstats are clearly closer to the real number than the fraudulent CPI is. It's not even remotely close. And the real kicker is, once you realize this, then start to look at applying an 8.6% deflator to the GDP numbers we've heard for 40 years plus. You begin to realize that the US has been in a recession for 4 decades. That's why it now takes 2 incomes for an average family to survive, versus the 1 income earner it took in the 1950s. That's why the average family used to own a home and a cottage to go to in the summer, and today's average family is stuck renting an apartment. The standard of living has declined immensely for the average citizen. And it's because inflation has robbed them of their purchasing power at an 8.6% clip for decades. Those are the flat-out facts of the matter. And there's no mathematical way around it. And what's worse is we look set to embark on a period of inflation that is going to make that 8.6% look exceedingly tame. And almost no one sees it. You've now been warned. Prepare accordingly. If you live in or close to a large US city, when the financial implosion begins, layoffs will commence, services will be reduced, pensions cut, benefits cut, and violence increase. The filth will prey on the city until they have used up everything there, and then they will move out to the suburbs. Get far away from the coming dystopian nightmare of millions of well-armed low-IQ violent victim types, as they are coming for you and what you own. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. This was the Atlantis report. Please like, share, leave me a comment, subscribe. And please take some time to subscribe to my backup channels. I do upload videos there too. You'll find the links in the description box. You will also find a PayPal link if you want to make a donation. Thank you wholeheartedly to all those of you who have already donated. Stay safe and healthy, friends.